Okay, so I've tested this a couple of times, and I think you're actually going to be able to hear me. There is going to be some city noise, which is sort of the point, as I am in Bangkok. And so greetings, what's going on? It's Mike's from livemyassoff.com, and I'm here in Bangkok. This is Ekamai, and behind me is Sukhumvit. That is the BTS, and the Ekamai station is right there. And so I'm here at Coffee Club. The Coffee Club is one of the very, very common coffee places here in Thailand, as well as the Philippines, other parts of Southeast Asia. And so I have a meeting down the street here in about an hour or so. It's not going to be an hour-long video, but I wanted to check in because today is 2 months here. So I've been in the kingdom for 2 months. I started videos about on day one of being here, and on day one I was in Bangkok, and then Gracie and I, as you know, were down in Chaham for about a month, and now we then came up to Bangkok. Gracie since left to go back to the Philippines because of her visa. When she comes in, she has a visa exempt stamp for 30 days. We then, shortly thereafter her entering, we go to immigration, and for 1,900 baht, we extend her visa for 30 more days, giving her a total of 60 days in the kingdom, which actually 30 days in total for her would have ended yesterday. So she flew out on Sunday, which was basically just the cheapest flight on Cebu Pacific back to Manila, relative to her schedule and when she wanted to get back. She basically, in January every year, she takes care of her business and that sort of thing in the Philippines, as well as Social Security and basically everything. She front loads it for the whole year, so she's good for 2020 now, or will be. Okay, so 2 months already in Bangkok, and basically not on vacation this time. All my previous videos have been sort of me traveling as a traveler, as a vacationer. Throughout Southeast Asia, and now I live here, right? So what's the difference? Well, I can tell you right now, the difference is it's a hell of a lot cheaper. If for no other reason than I'm not traveling from spot to spot, that's the first reason. So therefore I can get longer sort of deals. So I think I mentioned that our condo we had in Chaham was 8,000 baht a month, about $265. And my condo that I signed up for a year lease that I'll be moving into on, well, technically the lease starts February 1st. I'll be moving some of my bags into it on Saturday. And that's 12,000 baht a month, or about $400. And but the Airbnb that we're in right now, that we've been in for a month, you know, when you do an Airbnb for a month, you get a 25-30% discount, that sort of thing. And of course, you don't have an electric bill, and you don't have a water bill, and there's no security deposit and that sort of thing. So it's, you know, and it's certainly convenient because you push one button and all of a sudden you've got a condo for 1 month, which includes internet. But that condo for us is 22,000 baht a month, or about $750. And it's nice and it's new, and again, it was easy. But it's also cheaper than, you know, when we were hopping around in 1 week or 10-day increments using Airbnb. Because, you know, in Bangkok, I mean, you're getting a room, you're getting a fine condo on Airbnb for $35 to $40 a night, you know, and then plus some tax and the Airbnb fees. But you know, still, I mean, if you do that for 30 days, that's still $900 a month. And $900 a month for a condo in Thailand is, that's basically considered expensive. Whereas a one-bedroom condo in downtown San Diego, expensive is about anything over about $2,200 is expensive. Anything less than $1,800, anything less than about $2,000 is acceptable. anything less than $1,500 is a good deal for a one-bedroom in downtown. I'm talking downtown San Diego in comparison, right? So like, high rises that are about 10 years old or less. So that's sort of the comparison I'm making. So that's the other thing is the cost. And when there's less cost, and the cost is so significantly less here, it's not distracting. I don't think about it. As I mentioned in another video, I'm keeping track of it because I want to see how much it is so that I can really share it with other folks. Because for me, before I was coming over here, like potentially a lot of you, I paid attention and watched a lot of YouTube videos on what it costs to retire in Thailand. There's a whole bunch of, air quotes, right? But there's a bunch. If you just like put into YouTube, retire in Thailand under $1,000, many YouTubers give their budget because it's relevant, it's important, because the delta is significant. There's not a whole lot of, YouTube videos on, retire in Key West, Florida for $1,000. That's not very possible, or it's not common. Let's just say that it's possible, but it's not real probable. So anyway, so there's the cost thing. There's also the big quality of life, right? Which is I've loved it since I got over here. This time, I've loved it since I got over here in 2013. So there's that. That's the real nice part. My initial thought was I'll move over here and I'll go to the beach and I'll stare at my foot. I've also shared in another video how on day 3 I was meeting with a development team, software development team. This morning I had a call, 8 in the morning here, 5 p.m. in San Diego, with a guy who is a rock star developer. And I'm gonna set up a meeting with him and my business partner and another project manager for probably over the next 10 days to go over a big scope of work for a project that we're working on for this new business I've started with my buddy Ed. So so much for being unemployed. And well, the better news actually is I'm not unemployable. Let's just say that. I'm working for myself. But anyway, so I'm keeping myself busy. That's for sure. I'm kind of one of those one of those scenarios that now that I don't have a job, I'm even busier with work, right? But I love it over here. And the other thing that I'm doing and planning on doing is a significant amount of travel. Saturday, the good news is my buddy Eddie is down in Pattaya, and so because my contract for my lease isn't starting until the following Saturday on February 1st, and my condo is up on this Saturday, January 25th, I don't have to pay for basically 2 mortgages. On Saturday, I'm going to go down to Pattaya, and I'm going to stay down there for a week and hang out with Eddie on his last week of his vacation before he heads back to the U.S. So I'm going to hang out there for a week and then come back here. So I'm going to do that travel. But while I'm down there for a week, I'm also going to plan on, where I'm going to travel, basically with just a backpack. While I'm here solo, before Gracie gets back, and also where Gracie and I are going to travel solo, if you will, meaning that we're going to leave our stuff at our condo here, and we're just going to grab a backpack, and we're going to use trains and buses, and planes too, to travel throughout Thailand, but also Southeast Asia. So Krabi is a place that we really want to check out. These are parts down south. So I'll mention that. Bangkok is a big city. It is a loud city. It is a 25-hour-a-day city. It's more than that. It is 110%. I was going to say it's 110% at 80 miles an hour unless you're sitting in a car, just because there's so much traffic. But my point is that there is an unlimited amount of things to do. The other thing, so 2 months in, I am able to really have a much more objective view of my life. By that I mean that while I thought I was able to sort of see that, okay, well, this is imperfect in San Diego, or this relationship is dysfunctional, or yeah, work is work, right? And I know that I'm putting up with some nonsense because, you know, I'm getting paid, and the goal is to take all this money and you know, put that into, hey Tony, and put all that into savings so that I can come over to Thailand. You know, after now being out of it, you know, I'm able to sort of reflect and take a more objective view to what was going on there, especially in the office. Because, I mean, let's face it, you know, when you have a full-time job, you know, the majority of your life is spent with those people. And be like, wow, that was, I was tolerating things that I would not tolerate in friendships. And so even though, you know, I made some relationships at work, I made them into friendships because that's what I wanted them to be, even though they really didn't warrant that. They really didn't deserve that label. They were more of acquaintanceships based on environment. And so, you know, I would walk with my boss, and I labeled that as a friendship. But unfortunately, you know, when decisions needed to be made, friendship was not taken into consideration by my boss. And honesty and openness, that was completely shut off. And so that was sad for me, right? Because there was this loss, right? And, you know, I mean, look, I'm not going to get into the drama of it, but the point is that it was just one of many areas of my life. Now, that said, it also clarified for me that the acquaintanceship that I just thought I had with my guys that reported to me on the org chart, that wasn't just an acquaintanceship, that was actually a real friendship. And I got closer to my guys in the last 1 or 2 months that I worked there, and quite frankly, that's what kept me there the last few months. I was more concerned with their future than I was, you know, I mean, I designed that entire, I would submit, and this is my label of it based on my master's degree of studying what executive leadership is that a good leader, you know, whether I'm there or not, ideally, if I'm there and after I leave, it's either the same or better if I've executed decent leadership. So my guys were self-managing. I didn't need to be there for them to be able to execute excellence. And so, you know, I was just more concerned. I could have left. I could have left over the last 3 years. I could have just been like, you know what, I don't feel like going back to the office. I'm going to stay in Thailand. And my guys could have figured it out, right? And there would have been emotional loss from my perspective, and I would submit there would have been a little bit of disappointment on my guys' part. But anyway, my point is that relationship clarity was brought into play, and so that was discovered for me while I was there. It was really discovered for me after I left too. And the nice thing is that I've been able to check in with my guys, and they're doing great. And so I'm thrilled about that. So anyway, you know, after 2 months here, I absolutely know I made the right decision, and I'm thrilled to share that with you. And you know, wherever you are and wherever you're watching this, I truly hope that you're safe and happy. I hope that by watching this, maybe it sparks your interest in reviewing your life, taking an objective, maybe not moving to Bangkok. I hope that it sort of maybe allows you to take an objective view of your life and say, wow, maybe the relationships or maybe the scenario that's occurring in my life is not real. Maybe it's just one that I've wanted it to be, so I've made it that way so I can justify what's going on. Maybe it's just my confirmation bias. And maybe that's fine. Maybe that's okay. You know, maybe that's what I need to do so that I can make enough money, so that I can save enough money, so that I can put my children through school. Maybe the end game is to basically just work and the conditions are like fine. They're good enough for right now because my children's lives, I want them to be better. So I'm willing to put up with whatever. And my life was not horrible. I didn't hate my job. This isn't one of these, oh my God, I was living in a cubicle and I hated going to work every single day, so I fired my boss, and now I'm over here and I'm a digital nomad, and no! I'm retired, dude, you know, and I love every minute of it. Ken Blanchard, one of the guys that I really respect a great deal, he labeled it as not being retired. He calls it being refired. And I like fired up, meaning, right? Not fired again from your last job because you were so incompetent. You're fired again. No, I'm fired up, right? And my life is a gift, and I'm living the dream. And I hope you're living the dream. And that's not just some t-shirt thing that I'm like hoping to make someday and then throw it up on Teespring or Patreon or whatever. No. And the guys that do that, I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I may in fact do that someday. Those are great ways to generate revenue, and they're cool because obviously people wouldn't buy that if those didn't have value. So I'm not saying that someday there might not be a t-shirt that says, live the dream, and if you're not living the dream, you're doing it wrong. There may be one of those one day, but I don't say it because of that. I say it because I believe it, because I have not lived the dream, and I was doing it wrong, and I just hated my life, and I came to one day. I'm gonna put a link below to my book, to my story in my book. That I got an honor to write with a bunch of other authors, along with Jack Canfield. Jack Canfield is most famous for Chicken Soup for the Soul. There's going to be a link below. You can click on it. You can download a free PDF, which is basically my story in that PDF. The title of the book was Defining Moments of Courage. So my defining moment of courage is in the link that you can download the free PDF for. But it's to give you an idea of what happened when I was doing it wrong. And I wasn't living the dream. And I was doing it wrong. And now I'm living the dream. And I'm so honored. So I'm just sharing that with you. So after 2 months in Bangkok, I'm living the dream. And I hope you are too. Thanks for watching.